Heyo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video. In this one, I just wanted to talk very openly about what it's like to be, 20 years old, never have gone to college, didn't finish high school, went right into business for myself at the age of 17, and what my experience has been, earning multiple five figures monthly, nearly $1 million a year at 20. And this could very easily be a massive narcissistic ego back-patting session, but in reality, honestly, I really don't feel like I'm making that much money. The people that I hang out with, the associates that I've got in my space, they make me look like a dweeb, honestly. So I'm just excited to share what it's like to be 20 years old and to be doing what I'm doing, and hopefully, this inspires some random person to say, you know what, I'm tired of where I'm at, I'm tired of the life I'm living, I want to upgrade what I'm doing with my life and with my goals. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. It's just a raw, uncut video of my experience. So I'm going to start with some of the pros, and there's a long list of pros, but there's also a long list of cons and things that maybe I do regret about this path in life, and some of the things that I might have changed if you had asked me if I could go back to the start and start all over again. So obviously, being 20 years old and netting tens of thousands of dollars monthly affords me a lot of nice luxuries. This is one of the pros. I can buy nice watches. This is a Rolex Daytona. Got a video on my channel. I picked it up with my girlfriend. $17,500 watch. I'm buying another $10,000 watch a month from now. It's really crazy, to get to say that. It's kind of actually one of the weirdest things about the journey, to be honest with you, is money just starts to mean less and less to you, and you start to just focus more and more on who you want to become and what impact you want to make in your life. And I'll get to that in a moment, but that's one of the big pros, luxuries. One of the other big pros is just time freedom. I really don't feel like I need to do much with a specific given day. I feel like I've built a business at this point that kind of sustains itself, and I really don't have to do much in order to keep it moving. As long as I'm on the sales calls that my SDR hands to me, and as long as our ad campaigns are running, and as long as all of our clients are happy and all of our students are happy, then it's like, hey, whatever, I'll just keep on keeping on. And the hardest work, honestly, was at the front. It was getting started, and then eventually I turned everything that worked into systems and processes that just kind of worked outside of me, and here we are. It feels like we can have a $30,000 week, and I can have worked 6 hours that week, and it really is kind of crazy, but that's just where it's at. And I know it won't sustain there. I know 6 hours a week is no way to sustain a business, so eventually I'll dive headfirst back into the meat of things and really move the needle again. But right now, honestly, I'm just enjoying life. I'm turning 21 in 2 weeks, so just trying to make the most of it. Another one of the big pros is just the mental freedom. I think I sleep well, I eat well, I train well, I hit the gym often. I've got a good relationship with my family, my girlfriend. All of these things, seem to go pretty well. I've got a lot of time to devote to the things that matter to me, like my faith and the different fields of study that I enjoy, like self-psychology and theology and these sorts of things. And I just have the means to do so. I don't really have to worry about the next paycheck or whatever. I can afford a nice apartment, whatever. The pros, those are the pros, okay? And besides the financial stuff, the material stuff, honestly, one of the bigger pros is just seeing people impacted. When you have a business at this level, it's pretty much nearly impossible to do something that doesn't impact people or doesn't bring some sort of market impact. So to get videos from people saying, hey Trey, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here, that's the most fulfilling thing on the planet. And honestly, I would do what I do for free if money were no object. So that's a pretty cool freaking thing to get to do, and I'm really happy about that. Now let's get to the cons. Let's talk about what the downsides are, because honestly, I think that's going to serve a lot more people. I don't think telling you about how amazing my life is really doing you that much good. I think I should tell you what the issues are. Here's one of the main issues. And it's the same thing that my brother told me when he got back from basic training, and that's that when there's a lot of freedom, there's also a lot of room for error. And in having a lot of freedom and in having a lot of ability to kind of do whatever I want, whenever I want, it's really easy to do really stupid crap. I'm not in an environment, maybe say college, where I'm forced to get up at a certain time, arrive at certain classes, take certain quizzes, and I'm not being regulated in this way. I have nobody checking me over my shoulder. For all my family knows, I could be doing crack on the side. I could be messing around with a bunch of different girls. I could be doing all kinds of stupid crap right now, and nobody would know and nobody would care. So I have to self-regulate. If I'm not self-regulating and if I don't keep my standards at a certain level, I'll just lose myself. Honestly, that's what will happen. I'm a 20-year-old kid with a lot of money. I'm self-aware enough to know that if I'm not checking myself, I'm gonna lose my life. It's kind of like that quote, what does it mean to gain the whole world if you lose your soul? So I don't want to lose my soul, and I don't want to be an idiot. And it's not just in these deeper spiritual ways, it's also in the small ways. Like, today I happened to sleep in quite a bit, and I was up pretty late last night. I was up till about 1:30, maybe 2 a.m. Granted, it was because, I was running an errand for my mom. She needed me to pick her up some medications because none of my family was willing to go out, and I don't live that far from my family. I live like 20 minutes from them, just 20 minutes north downtown of where they're at, and it's pretty easy for me to run errands if I have to and just help them out. But, 2 a.m. when you're running a business like this is just not sustainable, and I shouldn't do that every night, and yet it's really tempting to just kind of, let loose. Another thing is like video games, I grew up on video games. I play video games a lot. I enjoy like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Smash Bros, stuff like that. It's really fun to do those things, and frankly, when you aren't required to do anything on a day-to-day basis, it's really hard to just have the motivation to just do what you need to do despite the fact that maybe it's not the most fun thing for you to do. Because I am 20, supposedly your brain stops developing at 25, and I'm still a stupid kid. So I have to really create an environment around myself where it's easy for me to stay productive, and it's easy for me to not slide back into a couch potato, cornflake eating Call of Duty Modern Warfare Pro. The next thing that I would say is a con on the list is honestly a feeling of disconnection with kind of the rest of the world. A lot of things that are going on right now politically, I don't really follow. And it's a good thing and a bad thing. So I purposefully keep most of the world out of my peripheral. Like I kind of keep forgetting that a big election is happening right now. And I don't seem to stay up to date with a lot of, American politics or world politics or what the frick's going on outside my door. There was like a massive Black Lives Matter riot outside of my window at one point, and I didn't even know what was going on until I got on Google that evening and said, why is there a riot downtown? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Black Lives Matter. Oh, okay, got it. So, I just feel this sense of disconnection. Like I really do live in my own little bubble, and it's a pretty comfortable bubble. And so there's not a lot of like forces that require me to grow and develop in my maturity. And so I can make a lot of really stupid decisions, particularly like with maybe women, or particularly with, the ways that I spend my time. Because when you've grown your business to the level that I've grown it to, honestly, it's like, it really is like having just a check written to you for total, complete freedom. And you really have to know exactly what you want in life. Otherwise, you're kind of screwed. The next con is, I have to work really hard to make sure that the people that I associate with don't feel lesser. Obviously if they have insecurities, that's their fault and it doesn't fall on me. But, often I'll be talking about my career and I'll be talking about things in my business. And this is like a buddy of mine who's like, maybe he's like 21 or 22 and he's just wrapping up college. He doesn't know what he's going to do with his life. And I have to, it can feel sometimes like, they are upset because, they don't have it figured out quite so much yet. And I can genuinely say that I don't really see people as lesser. I don't think that's how I think. I just think I happen to build this thing, and I don't really think money is a good way of, sorting people's value by any means. But, I have this nice apartment. I've got nice watches, and it's very obvious that I make a good amount of money and that I share online for the sake of the business. And so being able to navigate relationships has been a bit difficult. In particular with some of my siblings or even with some of my friends, often it can come across like, I just want to prove something all the time. And that's one of the negative things about being young and successful is a lot of people will take it personally, and you're just going to have to learn to navigate that. It's not necessarily a huge con, but if you have a hard time with people accusing you of things or maybe saying things about you behind your back, you're just going to have to learn to live with it. I think a part of being a man is just knowing what you believe and believing it anyway, and whether people like it or not, just sticking to your guns and owning your way of thinking. And I would say the last con is unless you're an incredibly rational, logical human being, which I don't believe any human being is purely rational or logical, then it's really hard to make decisions in regards to your business. So, I think at the end of the day, you got to do things that benefit the end consumer. But really knowing what you're doing on a quarter by quarter, year by year basis, week by week, day to day basis even, it's kind of hard to know. Like, my calendar feeds me objectives, and I kind of know what I got to do based on like, how many sales calls are coming in or what else is going on in the business. And that's pretty easy for me to do. It's not hard for me to be like, all right, I got 6 sales calls today and like 3 client meetings, whatever, I'll hit those. But often, it's easy to get lost in that monotony of just hitting your day to day over and over again. And this is why I've recently built out a team structure that kind of pulls me back a little bit and lets me look at my business as a whole. I'm eating into some of my revenue, having a team. I'm eating into a lot of my profit margins by giving away, a lot of commission to salespeople and whatnot. But the reality is, it's an easier way for me to go than for me to spend my entire day 8 to 10 hours every single day working in this entity that just sucks up my time and my energy and my ability to serve my business and its ultimate vision and mission. So really being clear of what that is and really knowing exactly what I'm trying to do and why I'm doing this thing, and because it'll be interesting, it's interesting. You got to be able to view a day as like one unit among thousands of units that all come together to meet this grand whole. In a typical job environment, you're kind of fed tasks. When you're running a business, you're not really fed those tasks, and you got to learn how to create your own tasks based on the feedback that your market is giving you. So that's been one of the skill sets that I've had to really develop as an entrepreneur, being able to overcome this sense of lack of certainty and an inability to make decisions that might serve my business moving forward. So, that's honestly that's what it's to be 20 years old. Gosh, it's not that luxurious. I think a lot of people will see it and think, oh my gosh, I wish I had that. But there's a lot of things that I wish I could figure out as well. I definitely feel like I'm ahead in terms of career, but there's other areas, that I just can't make up for it because I'm 20. Another 20 years is the only thing I can do. I have to wait another 20 years before I can have certain things in my life. The level of maturity and the level of discipline and the level of patience that I desire to have. That's been one of my issues as well, is just developing a sense of peace and patience. I found myself really rushing into things. If I see that it's even just slightly a good idea, I'll just be boom, I'll just zone right into it, go all into this thing, and I won't really count all of the ways that it could go wrong. I just go all in, and that's not good either. So there's just some cons that come with being 20. I honestly don't think, and I can say this as a 20-year-old, I do not think that 20-year-olds are built to be long-term thinkers. I think we are naturally short-term thinkers, and I think the only way that I can overcome this is just by adding a couple more years onto my experience. So right now it's just a waiting game. It's maintaining my mental state, it's staying in a state of abundance, understanding the system that makes up my business, who I serve, how I serve them, what problems I solve for them, keeping my reputation at tip-top shape, and waiting another 10 years. Honestly, that's my plan. I think by the time I'm 30, I will have a business that nets at least $5 to $6 million a year, just based on the trajectory that we're headed. Another 10 years, I can't imagine that the compound effect won't take place and things won't just get faster and faster and faster and easier. And if they don't, I won't necessarily be unhappy. I'm cool with, just a 6-figure income or, $60,000 to $70,000 a year even. This is Indiana, for God's sake, and I'm totally cool with just coasting on some, decent income. As long as I feel like I'm doing something that I am excited about, I will make any amount of money. And business just happens to really, really excite me, and it's something that I really enjoy. I love seeing lives changed, revenue brought in the door, and I love building this meaningful, impactful entity that's kind of outside of myself, that provides for me and my future family in a way that I couldn't do by just working a job. But that's about it. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you're ready to start and grow your business, if you're ready to start your own agency or consulting business, which is the same type of business that I run, you can schedule a call using the link in the description with myself or my highly trained team. Anybody's welcome to schedule a call. If you are a beginner or you're experienced and you're just wanting to grow your business, it doesn't really matter. We'll see where you're at and see if you're a good fit for our help inside of one of our programs or one of our coaching programs or whatever it might be. And there's no pressure on these calls, obviously. We're just figuring out where you're at and showing you around what we have to offer. So go ahead and check that out, and I'll see you in the next video.